Hello everybody, as Jim Anchower says, it's been a while since I rapped at you. Several weeks, maybe even months as a matter of fact. I've been quite busy. Have not been, well, I guess I should say I have been buying vinyl just mostly online. Haven't really had many opportunities to go out and check out any stores or thrift stores or sales or anything like that. So they've been coming in sporadically. Every once in a while I get a package at the door and it turns out to be something I ordered, although the one record that I ordered back at the beginning of the pandemic still has not arrived yet. That was supposed to come from Germany, and the shipper on Discogs has given me a tracking number, so it looks like it has left Germany, but it has not arrived in the United States yet, or it hasn't been processed over here yet. All right, enough of that. So I skipped the second drop of Record Store Day this year. I do plan on going to the final drop, which is this Saturday, because I have a time slot early in the morning, so I should be able to get the records I'm actually looking for. I have 7 on my list. There are a couple I really want, a few that I plan on buying, and some I might decide to pass on. So the reason I skipped the second record drop was that I only really wanted 4 albums on the list, one of which I really doubt even was available around my neck of the woods. So I might look out for those records when I go to the record store on Saturday and see if they turn up. If they don't, that's not really any big deal. They were records I would have liked to have, but it's not a deal breaker for me if I don't get those. To be completely honest, I really don't like the fact that Record Store Day was broken up into 3 separate drops this year. I understand why they did it. I hope next year it goes back to just being one single event. For one thing, that'll be a lot easier on my pocketbook. I kind of wish they'd limit some of the releases too, but I know that's probably not going to happen. It's not like anybody needs to be spending a lot of extra cash on records right now, or maybe some people do. Anyway, enough with the jibber jabber. I was just going to show, I thought I'd go through and show you some of the records that I bought during the first Record Store Day drop at the end of August. Now that I've had a chance to open all of those and listen to them, I wanted to give my impressions on those. The first record in my stack here was by Florida band Surfer Blood. This was the 10th anniversary edition of their first album, which is called Astro. And I don't know what label this was released on. It looks like it was on K9 Records, which I think was the original label that released this. It's been in and out of print during that 10-year time span on black vinyl and other various colors of vinyl. So what made this release significant was that it contained a bonus disc with some demos and live tracks and I think B-sides. That's what the inside of the Gatefold looks like. And the sound quality on this was really quite good. I was impressed. I had heard this record before, but I never owned a physical copy of it, so it was nice to pick it up. For those of you who might be curious, this is the color blue that the first disc is. Just has plain old white labels. And this is the color of the second disc. I guess you'd call that maybe violet. So you've got blue and violet, or blue and purple, however you want to call it. And this edition did also come with a nifty little poster of the band. Looks kind of like a big Polaroid with a lyric sheet on the other side. So I really enjoyed both discs of this album. That was a good pickup. I think I paid around $29 for it, maybe. I checked it on Discogs recently, and you can get it cheaper than that now, so it did depreciate a little bit since Record Store Day, but it's totally worth picking up. Surfer Blood, Astro. The next album is the Lagniappe Sessions, which my friend David suggested that I buy. He had previewed some of these tracks, and I'm not really familiar with many of these artists or this project. It reminds me a little bit of the Late Night Tales series of CDs that are curated by different artists and where they pick their own music that they like. This is Aquarium Drunkard, I guess, is the label, and they selected several artists and had them cover particular songs. So there are covers of songs on here by the Melvins, the Stooges, the Misfits, the Replacements, Dire Straits, Bon Iver, a bunch of other people. So the best one I thought was the Mountain Goats cover of Blood Bank by Bon Iver, which starts off side 2. And that was a fantastic track. Some of these tracks I liked more than others. There was one song that was recorded on an iPhone that I didn't really care for very much. But all in all, it was a good listen. And I think I decided to keep it. It comes with this little poster, or I guess insert, that explains the concept behind the selections on the album. And the disc itself is sort of a milky greenish color. It looks like it would glow in the dark, but I don't think that it does. And I certainly didn't try it. The fidelity on it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like audiophile jazz quality or anything, but good enough to play on a pretty much any turntable system, I would think. The next album is New Order's Peel Session. This is the 1982 Peel Session, and I understand there were 2 of these Peel Sessions. Some people I saw on Discogs wondered why they didn't just release both of the sessions as a single album, which would have been pretty cool, but they didn't. Instead, they just reissued the single session, which has Turn the Heater On, We All Stand, Too Late, and 586. Of course, these are Peel Sessions, so they all sound, or the album tracks sound different from what you hear on Power, Corruption, and Lies. And Turn the Heater On is a cover of a reggae tune. Kind of odd for New Order, but it works. It's just plain Jane black vinyl, very, very solid and heavy, and very good fidelity. So it's got a brand new, I guess, Peter Saville cover, as you can see on the front and the back. Very nice looking. I paid about 19 bucks for this, and it was worth it. I wouldn't say it's the best stuff I've ever heard by New Order, but it was a solid record store day release. This album was probably my most sought after during the first record store day drop this year. It's Pale Saints' Mrs. Dolphin. Unfortunately, it has a redesigned cover that I'm not, I like it, but I don't like it as much as what was on the original CD, which was a Japanese-only CD released back in the early 90s. So anyway, I wanted to show you what this looks like. It comes with an Obi strip. The printing quality is exceptional on this release, which it usually is for 4AD. So this gives you an idea of what the front and the back look like. They kind of recycled some of the artwork from the original release. I guess that was found in the booklet. I think this inner sleeve is all new. Kind of a typical 480 inner sleeve from the period. And I was really blown away with what the vinyl looked like on this. I happen to like colored vinyl. I know a lot of people in the vinyl community hate it. And I think that a lot of problems people have with colored vinyl are that they just do not clean and destat their records, which I do religiously every time I buy a new record. So this is what it looks like. Some people on Discogs said this is a puke green color. I think it looks kind of like a, Ghostbusters green ichor color. Very timely for Halloween. And of course, it's a wonderful record. It comprises a couple of EPs that the band put out in 1989 and 1990, along with some non-album tracks. It doesn't really hang together as well as a normal Pale Saints album would, but it's nice. It's a nice little artifact from the period, and pretty cool to finally have this on vinyl, after waiting about 30 years for it to show up. So that was very much worth the purchase price, I think. Here's another album that I was very much looking forward to during the first record store day drop. It is Martin Denny album called Exotic Moog. However, Martin Denny is not even the person who plays the Moog on this record. It's a guy named Clark Gassman, who's credited as the arranger, which is kind of funny. But this is on the ever reliable Jackpot Records label. Had no idea that they were going to had any plans of releasing this. I think it originally came out in the 1970s, and I've got so many Martin Denny records, and none of them sound anything like this, even though it covers a couple of his classics on here, like Quiet Village and Yellow Bird. Now, this pressing, interestingly enough, the jacket has a pink interior, sort of like I only see that really typically in older 4AD albums, say from the 80s and 90s, which is kind of odd, but I like it. I'm glad that they did that. It's pretty cool. The disc itself is just phenomenal. It sounds really great. It has a low noise floor, and it's very vibrant music. The Moog comes out to the forefront in all the recordings, and the disc is this sort of swirl orange, which mates really well with the Liberty color band that you can see there on the middle of the label, or on the side of the label. It's a really, really nice presentation. So kudos to Jackpot for a very quality reissue of an album that, other than their efforts, probably never would have seen the light of day. Okay, now the last of the Record Store Day first drop albums that I purchased. This was also the most expensive at a whopping $39.98. You can pick this up now in Discogs, going for around 30 bucks, brand new, sealed on average. This is Hawkwind's album from '77, Quirk, Strangeness, and Charm. This is their 7th LP. This is the second copy I've ever owned. I had a single disc original pressing of it a while back, a US release that just was not in good shape, and I ended up trading it. I always did want another copy of it, so I was excited when I saw this was being re-released for Record Store Day. It is a double album this time. Both are transparent vinyl, which looks quite lovely. I'm just going to show you the first disc because the other disc looks the same. Looks really good spinning around on the turntable too. It is on the Atom Hinge label, which I guess is a subsidiary of Cherry Red. And this is what I guess this is the original UK inner sleeve. There's a note from the Hawkwind party on the inner sleeve, which is pretty funny. It talks about how glad they are that Nick Turner and 2 other band members ditched the band so that they could move on with some new people and make Quirk, Strangeness, and Charm. So this is the other inner sleeve. Very, very nice printing on this. Really cool art and graphics. I'm not sure. I guess this is the first time this has ever been on an album. I don't know if they've recycled this from some other Hawkwind release, but it looks really good. And it sounds wonderful. There are a couple of extended mixes on the second disc. They're really good too. Days of the Underground I thought might have been the best one. And then of course Fable of a Failed Race. There's an extended version of that on here, which is my favorite song from the original disc. So again, this was a worthwhile purchase, and for those of you who did not pick this up and maybe got the other Hawkwind record instead, I strongly urge you to go pick this one up. It is an excellent album, and I fully recommend it. To wrap this video up, I thought I'd show you a couple of the records that I've gotten in the mail recently. So here we have a soundtrack. This soundtrack originally came out in the early 2000s. It's a Sofia Coppola picture called Marie Antoinette. Features, let's see, you've got a lot of 80s era Adam and the Ant related stuff. So Bow Wow Wow, Adam and the Ants, and some New Order. The Radio Department, which I believe are a Swedish band. There's some Kevin Shields remixes of things on here. A couple of tracks by The Cure, Plain Song, and All Cats Are Gray. Interestingly enough, those are my favorite Cure tracks from those respective albums. Faith and Disintegration, I believe. Anyway, then some other classical music and some other random stuff. So this pressing, I just grabbed this up because it was released a while, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was already selling on Discogs for 80 or 90 bucks. The flippers got a hold of it, and somebody nicely pointed out that you could still order original copies from Barnes & Noble, which this is an exclusive release for Barnes & Noble. Noble. This is what the interior gatefold looks like. This is the cover art from the original CD that was released in the early 2000s. And this, I don't know if you can see all of this, but of course there's the whole thing in all its grandeur. It's really nicely made. And this is what the discs look like. Sort of a cotton candy pink, and each inside label for all 2 discs is different, with different stills from the film. I haven't played it yet. I did clean it. It's ready to roll. I have no idea what it sounds like, but so far the reviews I've read say that it sounds quite amazing. So if you can, snap this one up. Original copies of this album, which again do not look like this pressing, and they're not 2 disc sets, I don't believe. Original copies sell for in the hundreds of dollars now. Typically, any Sofia Coppola soundtrack that was released was a very limited run back in the 90s or 2000s. And for Record Store Day, for the last drop, they are re-releasing the Virgin Suicide soundtrack, which should sell for about 20 bucks. And that's one that I plan to pick up on Saturday if I can get a copy of it. So I mentioned earlier that I skipped the second Record Store Day drop this year, and one of the reasons was because I was looking around at a few postings from record stores in my area, and I saw that they had some records that I wanted more than the Record Store Day records. So I ended up picking up a few of those. So here's one of those. It is Slowdive's debut album, Just for a Day. I have this on CD, and it's my favorite Slowdive album. Slowdive only released 3 albums back in the 90s. They are all worth picking up. They're all incredible music. It's one of the best shoegaze bands ever, and they spawned the band Mojave 3. Of course, also Neil Halstead's solo career. So I have not played this yet. It has been cleaned. And it's a really nice jacket, sort of a textured cover, very solid. Came with this nice inner sleeve that has a rice paper inner lining, and it's on I think they call this glow, like a, I don't know, sun glow vinyl or something like that. Anyway, it's another orange swirl, kind of like that Martin Denny album I showed earlier, and really beautiful. So I'm looking forward to playing this one soon. Oh, and it also comes with a poster or an insert. Thanks everyone for watching the video. I hope you have a good Record Store Day if you decide to go. And I look forward to hearing what everybody picks up for the last drop, and I will be showing my finds hopefully sometime next week if I'm not too lazy to make a video. Talk to you later.